Good morning, everyone. We're going to get started. We'll have more time to chat after, I promise. Good morning, everyone. I'm Carly Brooks, and along with my co-chair, Eli Sachs, I want to welcome you to the 20th Annual High Five Breakfast. Yep, the High Five Breakfast is an opportunity for the DJDS community to connect with each other, to showcase our students, and we have a really great one to showcase today, our faculty, also a great choice, and community, and to reaffirm our belief in the many gifts this institution provides. Today, we have the pleasure of hearing from a wonderful DJDS senior, Ian Jacobs, and our own Tia Woods, one of our amazing upper division English teachers. Education is a core Jewish value. Unique to our people is an emphasis put on the lifelong learning and creating a love of learning in the youngest members of our community. I just learned recently from my friend Rabbi Menachem Lehrfield that all the way back in 64 BCE, Rabbi Yehoshua Gamliel set a standard that all Jewish children should have access to education. Even if their parents couldn't bear that burden alone, he felt that it was the responsibility of the community to step in. Rabbi Gamliel piloted the idea that all Jewish children, regardless of background, have access to Jewish education. And that's why we're here today, sitting right here in the heart of these pillars of learning so that we can come together and can help continue to provide a stellar education for all of our children. So this is one of my favorite events of the year, and not just because of the chocolate croissants, which don't worry, you'll be receiving on your way out. I always leave this breakfast feeling energized, inspired, and excited by all the school has to offer our children. Last year, this breakfast became an online event in the evening, and while that was perfect for that moment in time, I'm so glad that we are back together again in person. Okay, so we're not in the Streer family gym, and we're not eating our breakfast together, but I'm so happy to see each and every one of your faces live and in person. Before we get started, I want to take just a moment to recognize all of our amazing table captains whose names are listed in your programs. Thank you so much for all of the effort you put into filling your tables and getting the word out about the High Five Club Breakfast. Because this is a word-of-mouth event, its success strongly depends on personal invitations. And you did an amazing job filling the room, or the tent in this case. I'd also like to thank our school leadership, Avi, Jason, and Ilana, for your tireless efforts in keeping school safe, in person, and wonderful as always. And I would like to thank our development team who pulled this together in record time. I think it was 33 days, right, Sam? Krista, Sam, Maya, Pam, and Matan, thank you so much. And I want to thank each and every one of you. We're shaking things up a bit this year, and we're going to start our program right away. Not to worry, your much-deserved delicious breakfast awaits you on your way out. But without further ado, I'd like to introduce our head of school, who agreed to have this event on his birthday. Come on up, Avi. Where are you? Don't worry, he's not going to blow out any candles. That's so pre-COVID. But please welcome Avi Hazal. Happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you, Carly. Over the past 18 months, every industry, every business, and every one of us has faced incredible uncertainties, incredible emotions, and incredible challenges. Let me begin by asking our faculty and our staff who are at this event to stand and represent the entire Denver JDS team while we recognize the incredible job that they have done for our children and for our community. Of course, most of them are in school teaching right now. This amazing team of people has inspired me over this difficult time. And more importantly, They didn't miss a beat, and they continue to inspire our children. Yes, I said our children because we consider them as much ours as they are yours. Although you are the ones who get the pleasure of handling dinner and bedtime routines, and we really appreciate that with our children. In all seriousness, they really are our collective children. They are our Jewish community of the future. They are the ones who will give you Jewish grandchildren. They are the ones that will take our culture, our history, and our traditions into future centuries. And at Denver JDS, we have always kept these thoughts front and center. Our extraordinary secular and Judaic education enables our children to live purposely, act ethically, and thrive in the world, to become the people they are meant to be. That takes a lot of love, it takes a talented team, and it takes a lot of effort, of course. And we love to see the impact that our graduates have on the world. It also takes resources, financial resources. Recently, we were thinking back to when I joined DJDS as head of school. The 2008 recession had began, and the school's enrollment, fundraising, and financial forecasting all took a hit. We found ourselves with $6 million of debt, and the plans to solve that problem were falling apart. In that situation, we couldn't afford to invest in our program or our faculty the way we wanted, and in the way our children deserve. It was a scary time. Our board chair at that time, Lisa Cohn, rallied our trustees with tears in her eyes, and we focused on solutions. We launched a successful campaign, we sold adjacent land, and we took care of the debt. We have steadied the ship, and we are ready for the future. Now, we are focusing on the good stuff. We want to continue to strengthen our school, and we are investing in our faculty and academic program the way a great school should. Even since the start of the pandemic, our financial stability enabled us to be flexible, responsive, and responsible. The predominant opinion is that, as a school, we responded quite well to the challenges of COVID and kept people as safe as possible while having in-person learning as much as any school that I know of anywhere in the United States. We are among the first to have 100% of our faculty and staff vaccinated, and just last week, we had a booster shot clinic for faculty and staff right here at school. And yes, our faculty is the best we've ever seen. They are brave, resourceful, nurturing, kind, and all around outstanding educators. And our enrollment has increased 2 years in a row, which is unique because the independent school world has not been a growth industry for many years, and that is even more true for non-Orthodox Jewish day schools. But it is happening here at DJDS, and it's something to celebrate, although we cannot rest and the hard work continues. Thank you for getting the word out and for sharing your great feedback about the school. Your recommendations and endorsements for our great school make a huge difference in attracting new families. They really, really do. It's so important. Speaking of hard work, solving the school's financial challenges took plenty of effort and at times detracted from the work we really wanted to be doing. However, thanks to the Herculean efforts and generous donations of our stakeholders, including many of you here with us today, this situation is behind us. And now we continue this essential work and continue to invest in Denver JDS so that our future is even stronger and better. Which brings us to how you can make that happen. There's never been a better time to support our school. Along with helping to cover the 25% shortfall between tuition income and the general operating budget each year, your support enables us to invest in strengthening a solid program that needs capital to make it the best it can absolutely be. Your support helps us pay our teachers more. It helps us outfit our makerspaces with the best and most interesting modern equipment. It helps us purchase new cutting-edge programs and curricula. It helps provide training and professional development for our faculty and staff. And it helps make sure we continue to enable our children to be the best and to thrive and to become the people they are meant to be and become the people that our community and world so needs. Just like our children, this is our community and this is our school. Together, with your continued support, we can move forward doing incredible work with our great team and deliver the education and experience that our children need and that our children deserve. Thank you for allowing me to spend this time with you this morning. Thank you for being here. Now, please welcome Upper Division English teacher, Tia Woods.
Thank you, Avi, and happy birthday. As an alumna, a parent, and a teacher at DJDS, I have come to believe in magic. There is magic in these halls and in the learning that happens in these buildings every day. Some of the magic is in the memories that are built in activities and relationships in and out of the classroom. Some of the magic is in the passion and the teaching from the adults here. I first experienced the magic here as a student, but as is the case with most younger children, I didn't recognize it until I was older. When I was a student here, the school was still called Herzl, and the educational foundations that I built here, both in Judaics and in secular studies, have benefited me throughout my life. If you were to ask me, as an alumna, about the memories I have from this school, I would invite you into my classrooms. I would tell you about Mrs. Silberman's amazing unit on mythology that lit a fire in me. I would reminisce about learning the Via Hafta with my dad to pass a memorization test for Mr. Rotenberg. I would talk about the amazing election results night when we all came back to the school and sat coloring our maps as the results came in. I would talk about the day that we were learning about electricity and burning our names into wood following a lead pencil path, and that we got to meet the fire department because of it. As a student here, I learned and fell in love with new ideas. The passion of my teachers and the creation of magic every day in the classroom created that. After I memorized the Via Hafta, I memorized poetry so that I could participate in the second grade spring fling. I learned that I have an ability to memorize and that Shel Silverstein poems are a gateway to more difficult memorization. Recently, when a fellow classmate found their VHS recording of our performance and magically digitized it, I learned that your brain holds on to all those memories better than I could have ever thought. The magic of the event and the excitement of performing in front of our parents was still fresh and vivid. I even remembered the poems and could recite them more than 35 years later. From the springboard of the spring fling, I learned that I could memorize the words my Hebrew teachers were teaching, but also the way they were teaching. In college, I tested out of the language requirement because of my Hebrew from here. When I lived in Israel after high school and when I took students on IST 8 years later, I was often mistaken for a local because of my Hebrew that I learned at Herzl. The passion of my Hebrew teachers made me want to keep learning and to keep bettering my language. Even now, I try to use my Hebrew, which is rusty, with teachers and students here so that I can keep up some of my language skills. And the magic is that no one I speak to does anything but encourage me and help me get better. 6 years ago, when my partner and I decided to send our daughter to Denver Jewish Day School, I came to a tour of the building as a new kindergarten parent, and I felt a little claustrophobic. The building where I had spent 6 years of my life seemed so small to the adult me. It seemed to have magically shrunk. As I wandered the space I had walked as a child and examined the changes, I relived the memories and the magic from these halls. I could close my eyes and be transported to Mrs. Benson's second grade classroom, and I could even hear her respond to some ridiculous request with, "Oh, for crying in a bucket." On my daughter's first day, when I came back into the school to drop her off, I experienced that familiar but new feeling again in the halls. However, this time they didn't seem quite so small. Magically, the school was growing to allow for more memories to be made. If you ask me, as a parent of now 2 children here, about the memories I have seen my children create, I would tell you about project-based learning, which is a teaching method in which students learn by actively engaging in real-world and personally meaningful projects. I would tell you about the costume my daughter put together so she could be in a play as a tree frog. I would talk about my son's class creating an entire ecosystem about trees and how excited he was for me to come see it so he could teach me about what he was learning. When I ask my kids about their magic experiences, they say they love having new teachers each year, but also love getting to see their past teachers and catch them up on what's going on in their lives. I would tell you about the social and emotional well-being activities and how much this school helps our children learn boundaries and build friendships. I would tell you how pleased I am with the foundational knowledge in both secular and Judaic studies and how well that's balanced with art, PE, library, and digital citizenship. There are so many programs here that exist to create magic and memories. The magical connection to older students via Hebrew Buddies, which pairs a kindergartner with a fifth grader in order to learn Hebrew, builds a community like no other. My children both still look for their Hebrew buddies whenever they can. The traditions like Chagigat HaSidur, when students receive their first Sidur in first grade, and Chagigat HaChumash, when they receive their Chumash in second grade, are something students here look forward to and are shared memories in this community. And if you were to ask me as a teacher about my memories here, I would tell you that I've only just started making them and that I hope to have many more years to create memories with my students and my coworkers. I would tell you I have met some amazing and unique students here. I have been able to see them grow and learn. I have been able to push their limits and see them spread their wings and soar. I would tell you how proud I am of the response of this school to COVID and the way that education of students is a priority here, even through a pandemic. I would talk about special programming and Jewish connections that our students see daily, even in their secular subjects. I would extol that teachers are allowed to teach and help students and create meaningful relationships. My love of learning came from teachers who loved what they were teaching, and I see that in the teachers I now work with. When I started teaching here, I had no reason to suspect that 3 years later I would be speaking about the magic at this school, having not experienced a full normal year yet. And there's magic in that too. I have seen the struggle of former colleagues and of friends in other schools' responses to COVID teaching. The work that DJDS has put into making sure that magic and memories continue here has been phenomenal. I am so proud to be part of that. I came to teach at this school because of the community, the Jewish identity, and the memories. I have been thrilled to be in a community of teachers that helps me when I need it, supports me always, and is dedicated to making magic in their classrooms every day. The beauty of memories is that we hold them deep inside of us, and we have the ability to experience the magic from them at any time that we choose. I am lucky enough to hold memories of this place as a child, watch my own children create memories and have magical experiences, and to witness teachers making magic here every day. Please welcome an extraordinary young man, DJDS Senior, Ian Jacobs.
Thank you, Ms. Woods. Sophomore year was my first year in this building. I was the only new student in a class of 17 best friends, and in the 3 years since I joined this school, during which I lived in Israel as part of the DJDS 10th grade HIP trip, became an active member of this incredible community, made lifelong best friends, I'm beginning to wonder if these really are the best days of my life. But seriously, how can it get better than this? Yes, it may be cliche, but what if it's true? What if, when I think back on my life, high school is at the top of my list? Okay, maybe for it to be at the top of my list, I will need to ignore things like social angst, hormones, drama, stress, college applications, time management, grades, and social media, but other than that, it's pretty great. Here's the truth. Everything that I just listed is inevitable. It is something you have all had to deal with, something that I will continue having to deal with, and every generation that comes after me will have to deal with it too. So why do I bring it up? Well, I bring it up because a good school is one that fits each student, which means fitting everything that they have going on too. When you have a school that accomplishes this, something amazing happens. You get a community. When everyone feels like they fit, like they belong, we partner up, we share our troubles, have patience and understanding for each other because we're all going through the same thing, and we power through it together. But I don't want to talk about community, not because it isn't absolutely incredible here, but because everyone who's been on the DJDS campus for more than 30 minutes has heard the word community and knows how great it is. Today, I want to talk to you about memories. When I reflect on what Miss Woods talked about, I wonder what it will be like when I'm in her position thinking back on my high school years oh so long ago. What will I remember? I ponder for about 2 seconds. And then the thought fades away. You know why? Because I know what I'll remember. I know what moments I will recall and I will smile. I will immediately recall the 207 quotes that have been written down by myself and my fellow classmates in a quote book that I started 3 years ago when I joined this school. It contains hilarious things that have been spoken, overheard, or plainly taken out of context during the school day. 207, yes. 207. That's 17 pages worth of quotes. Making a mess up here, hang on. Every single one of those quotes has a story. Countless memories are tied to quotes consisting of merely a couple words. There's never a day where a quote is not referenced, written down, and every single time my class and I gather to reread the quotes for the upteenth time, we never get through them all because we stop to reflect on the hilarious backstory behind every one. Now, for your entertainment pleasure and to further the theme of this speech, I will be reading 3 iconic quotes from this quote book for you this morning. Number 1, at the end of class, Miss Silberman states, "Stop packing up, the bell hasn't rung yet." To which Josh Metzel, another DJDS senior, replies, "Miss Silberman, I'm not packing up. I'm just putting my stuff away." Number 2, in a text to the group chat while on the Israel trip, Miss Knowles said, "My handle has fallen off of my hotel room door. I need somebody to come get me out of room 26. And finally, when answering a question asked by Mr. Snyder, Carter Bergman starts talking very, very fast, to which Mr. Snyder says to him, "Carter, slow down." To which Carter replies, "No, Mr. Snyder, you should think faster." So, of all the aspects of this school that I could have talked about, why did I pick memories? I chose memories because other than the present, memories make up our entire lives. Everything you learn through years of expertise in your job is utilized through memories. When your second child goes through high school, you learned what you learned from the first one. And the connections we build with those around us that form this amazing community rely on memories. Denver Jewish Day School makes memories. And it is through those memories that your children, the Jewish community, and society are imparted with the experience, knowledge, and skills that they need to truly thrive. In today's world, it is incredibly easy to get caught up in all the eventful chaos that occurs on a daily basis. And so I believe that this moment right now, this moment that is about to become a memory, is best used being appreciative and grateful for for this amazing opportunity to provide our future generation with the blessing of a life that we can make the most of. Thank you very much for listening. Now, I would like to welcome our event co-chair, Denver JDS board member and parent, Dr. Eli Sachs.
Good morning, everyone. First of all, a few words of gratitude. Thank you to Ian and to Tia for those incredible words and stories. Thank you to my intrepid co-chair, Carly. Carly, I've lost track of where you're sitting right now. Oh, Carly's right there. So thank you to Carly. And thank you to all of the table captains in particular, who kind of quite literally brought us all together this morning. So really thank you for all of your work on behalf of this community. So when I was asked to speak today, my first thought was that I might wear my college professor hat. Don't worry, I'm not going to. I'm a faculty member at CU Boulder. I direct the program in Jewish Studies there. And I thought I might talk about the kind of diverse ways in which DJDS cultivates the skills, the intellectual skills, the interpersonal skills that are crucial to success in college and beyond. Instead, though, I want to wear a different hat this morning. It's one of the hats that Ian mentioned. It's my DJDS parent hat. As some of you know, I have a fourth grader at the school, Charlie, and I want to tell a story, thank you, and I want to tell a story that for me exemplifies why we feel so tremendously grateful to be part of the DJDS family. So my grandmother was a Holocaust survivor. She spent several years in Auschwitz, and this is very important to Charlie. He cares really deeply about family history. He's very proud of the fact that his younger sister, Tova, is named after my grandmother. He's very proud of the fact that he is named after my grandfather, that grandmother's husband. And because of this, when Charlie was in second grade in April 2020, on the eve of Yom HaShoah, Holocaust Remembrance Day, Charlie asked me if he could share some stories about my grandparents with his classmates and whether he could share some pictures of family members who died in the camps. So out loud, I told Charlie, absolutely, ask your teachers whether they can make time for this. Internally, though, I was nervous, as I expect some of you might have been. I mean, this was the second month of the pandemic. Would his teachers really want to disrupt their carefully constructed lesson plans for this new conversation? The Holocaust is also a deeply delicate subject. It's a deeply difficult subject. Would his teachers really feel empowered on the fly, with no warning, to create curricular space for this kind of conversation? And finally, in the end, second graders are second graders. Would a group of 7 and 8-year-olds on Zoom trying to navigate remote learning for the first time be at all engaged in this kind of conversation? So I told Charlie, ask your teachers, but I was worried. And I have to tell you, I was almost moved to tears by what happened. Charlie's teachers were amazing. They immediately told him that this was an important topic, that they would make time in Judaics class for him to share some stories, and that his classmates would all then have a chance to have a discussion with him, to ask him questions, to share their own stories. Charlie's classmates were amazing. They kept their Zoom cameras on. They listened to him. They paid attention, and they asked questions during class and afterwards. And finally, the impact on Charlie was amazing. I mean, academically, he learned how to give a presentation, how to craft a narrative, how to lead a discussion. Socially, he learned what it means to be part of a supportive community. Jewishly, he learned what it means to bring the past into the present and honor the memories of those who came before us. And personally, he learned what it means to take a risk, to put yourself out there, to be vulnerable, and trust those around you to support you. This is just one of the many stories that so many of us in this tent today have and that make DJDS the amazing learning community that it is. DJDS is a place, as you heard Avi say, where students learn to live purposefully, act ethically, and thrive in the world. Every day, in ways both big and small, our students live out the school's divrei chaim, the school's words to live by, the principles of kindness, integrity, purpose, community, and curiosity that animate everything that happens on this campus. This is a space where students come together with faculty, with staff, with families, with other students to grow holistically as human beings, to build academic skills, to flourish interpersonally and socially, to deepen their Jewish identities, and to cultivate virtues, like courage, curiosity, compassion. And so what I want to ask all of you to do this morning is to join me and my family in making this DJDS education possible and ensuring that future students have chances to have their own DJDS stories, to have those memories that Ian mentioned earlier. And I want to ask you to look at the pledge cards in front of you. So they're in the envelopes on your table. So table captains, if you could share those. And I want to ask each of you to look at the pledge card in that envelope and consider becoming a High Five Club member and pledging an annual gift to DJDS. Give a moment for us to open these. These aren't just gifts, these are investments. They're investments in the future of our students and in the future of the better world that we will create. As Avi mentioned earlier, tuition covers only 75% of the budget here at DJDS. We need to cover the remaining 25% through fundraising, and the High Five Club is a pillar of that fundraising. With the card in front of you, you can become a High Five Club member and pledge to make an annual gift to the school. And this gift allows the DJDS education to be as transformative as possible and to be as accessible as possible. It allows the school to invest in the students, in the teachers, in the curriculum, in the technology, in the experiential learning that makes this the amazing learning community that it is. One-time gifts, of course, are also deeply appreciated. And one thing I want to call your attention to is the Colorado Child Care Tax Credit. It's described on the various paraphernalia on your table, on the table tents, on the cards themselves. You qualify for this tax credit with a $2,500 annual gift to the school, and the benefits are incredible. Some of you may have heard us say this before. With the various state tax credits and federal tax deductions, the out-of-pocket costs of a $2,500 gift with this tax credit are roughly equivalent to the out-of-pocket costs of a $1,000 gift without the tax credits. This allows many of us to dramatically increase our giving to the school and to really ensure that we're educating our students and empowering them to become leaders in the Jewish and non-Jewish worlds in the future, all while saving money on taxes. If you want to learn more, I encourage you to consult a tax professional. Don't rely on a Jewish philosophy professor for financial planning advice, but do keep this in mind. Two final points before we close today. The first is a point about food, and the second is a point about gratitude. Food. If you ordered a to-go box with our signature chocolate croissants, they will be available outside the tent over there, and I believe over there. If you ordered a gluten-free or dairy-free option, that is over there by the lower division school. Make sure that you pick up one of those boxes so that you're feeding your body as well as your soul this morning. So that's the point on food. And the point on gratitude is just a deep and heartfelt thank you to all of you for being here this morning. I am so proud to be here speaking on behalf of the school. That has meant so much to me and my family. And I'm so grateful to all of you for your generosity, for your passion, and your vision. Thank you for coming out this morning.